All right, friends. So our goal yesterday when we were scheduling all this stuff was to come up with the smallest optimal time. Okay? We want to get things done as fast as we can. So the easiest way to do that is finding the critical time for each vertex. Okay? The critical time for each vertex is the total time that it takes from that vertex to get to the end. So, in other words, if I were to start at E and I want to make my way to the end, E goes straight to the end. How long would that take? 9. It would take the total time from E to the end. So E's critical time is 9. Okay. What if I started at task F and tried to get to the end? 12. Because I'd have to go to E and then I'd have to go to the end. What if I started at A and tried to go to the end? 17. That is really loud. Okay. What if I started at D and went to the end? 3. What if I started at B and went to the end?
10. And then 9.
And this one is 9. Okay, so when they're asking for the critical time of each vertex, that's what you just found. Okay, your critical path has to go from the start to the end. Your critical path, you want it to be the biggest number possible. So, you said A to what? A, F to E. Good. Okay, so my critical path goes from start to A to F to E to the end. So what you just found is it should take us no shorter than 17 minutes or 17 hours or 17 seconds, whatever this is in, because it's not giving us a unit. It should take us no shorter than 17 to do all of these tasks. So now I'm technically looking for the largest number when I'm talking critical time. Okay, so if I would actually go through and schedule like we did yesterday, my number should never be shorter than 17. It should never, ever be shorter than 17. Okay, so let's talk critical times again. If I started F, what is my critical time?
5. 8.
Okay, you said this one's 8. Oops.
10.
Okay. What about G? 4.
10. 10.
Okay, so be careful.
Will it be 12?
So there are 2 different ways I can go from D to the end. I want the biggest number going from D to the end.
Yeah.
So D to F to end, which would make this actually 11. Okay, if I took D to G to the end, that's only 10. But if I go from D to F to the end, that takes me 11. Critical time is the biggest. So I want the biggest number. Okay? So let's bump to E.
11.
11. E can only go to G to the end.
And then 19.
Okay, you said this one's 19. I want to go back and look at B though. Is 10 actually the critical time for B?
No.
No. Okay, so 10 takes me from B to C, C to F, and F to the end. That gives me 10.
You can go B to D.
But I can go to D to F to the end.
Or to G.
I can go to E to G to the end.
Or you can go B to D to G.
I can go to D to G to the end. So there's several different ways that I can go from B to the end. I need to find the biggest.
It's B, D.
Okay, so B to D, D to F, F to the end, or B to E, E to G to the end is your longest, which actually makes B what? What is B going to be critical time-wise now?
13.
13. Did you like my group me text? I texted you, I said, Kimberly, where are you? Oh, it doesn't like to send to you either then.
Oh, never mind.
It
I just
came
got
through.
it now. Yeah, I just got it now.
Okay. So you've now found the critical time for each vertex. They want the critical path and its time. So what's the biggest way that I can go from start to the end?
A, B, G, N.
Okay, so start from A to E. When I schedule all of these tasks, it should never ever be below 19. Okay. When they say find the critical path for vertex B, they want to know what's the biggest way that I can start at B and get to the end.
Start B, B, G, N.
Okay. So B goes to D. D goes to, not to G. I think you said D.
I said B, E.
Oh, I'm sorry. I could have sworn you said D. My bad. B, E, E to G, and G to the end.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
So, for like B, it has arrows in like 3 directions. The critical time for B would be the biggest number possible.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So, the critical path for B, this was 13. I could have also gotten 13 by going from B to D, D to F, and F to the end. So both of these would have actually worked for B. Both of those would have given me a number of 13, which is the highest. Say it's cold?
Oh no, this is from yesterday. That was in my car. I'm surprised my toes aren't that ugly.
Okay.
No, they are.
Nah, they not.
One more with me, and then I want you to try the last one on your own, and then we'll go over it. Okay, critical time from each vertex. If I start at C and go to the end, critical time is 4.
So you have to start then.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So then what if I back up to B?
6.
It's going to give me 6.
11.
Okay. 6 also backs up to A, so that gives me 11. Okay. Let's go to I. 3. I backs up to F. 8. I also backs up to H. 11. Okay. Listen, there are 2 things that back up to E. We want to take the highest number backwards. So am I going to go from B to E or F to E? F to E. So that's going to give me 11. Okay. I have 2 numbers that back up to D. Which one do I want to take? Does it matter?
No.
No, this one doesn't matter which way I back up because it's the same number. So either way, D is 17. And H is the only thing that backs up to G, which gives G 18.
How is E 11? I'm confused.
Because it's 5 plus 3 plus 3. It's 3 plus 5.
Because you've got 2 different ways to back up to E. So I can go from 6 back to E, or I can go from 8 back to E.
So you choose which one equals the bigger
And you want the bigger number.
Oh.
So 8's bigger than 6. So you would back up from 8. You're backing up your total number, your critical number, not the number in parentheses. What were you trying to make E?
I did 8, 3, and then added 3 on E.
So you added the 3 twice?
No, she added the parentheses.
Oh, you went like 3 plus 8 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just make sure when I do this, this is already this included. Okay. Okay. So if you had to list me the critical path and it's time, we would go from start
To G.
to G to H to I to the end. Thought I was going to back into you. Okay. They want the critical path starting at D.
D, E, F, I, E.
D to E, E to F, F to I, and I to the end. Or, because these were both the same numbers, you could have also given me D to H, H to I, and I to the end. Both of those would have been correct, because both of those have a path of 17. So both of those would have been correct. Find the critical path starting at A. So I want to end with 11 when I start at A. Okay, so that's 5 plus 2 is 7 when I go to B, plus another 4 is 11. That takes me to C, and I end. Okay, so when I start the critical path, when I add up all these numbers, I want it to equal that critical number. Okay, that's my goal when I list the critical path. I want it to equal that critical number. Okay, I want you to try the last example on your own, and then I want to go over it. Okay. Yes. Be careful. There are a lot of arrows in this one. There's a lot of stuff you can mess up. And I'm telling you right now, you mess up the critical times in the graph, forget the rest of it. Okay. There are 2 of these questions on your test.
Oh.
Thursday. We're going to review tomorrow on everything from chapter 8. because I definitely want to make sure we go over what we did last week and make sure everybody's sharp and up on it again. Okay. So I actually printed the reviews for you because of these graphs. So I'm going to give you time in class to work on the review, and then we're going to go over the review, and I will answer any questions that you have. Thursday is your test. Friday, you are going to work on updating your websites, Chapter 7 project. I'll probably wait till Monday to introduce the Chapter 8 project. It depends on how many of you are here or not. It depends. I don't know. Well, don't forget, those of you going to prom on Saturday, you have to be here for a half day, or we revoke your ticket. You must be here for half day.
I'll be here for.
You leave half a day.
I'm gonna be here.
You have to be here completely through the end of second period for it to count as a half day.
What if we were here for,
What if you're just here?
Yes,
for
you
second
still get
period?
marked absent.
No.
what if we're here for third and fourth?
That's fine. You just have to be here for half day. So first and second, second and third, third and fourth. I mean, technically, I guess you could come in first, stay till the end of first, go home, come back fourth. It's still half day.
Gas money.
That's a little insane, but I mean, it is what it is. Huh?
We can leave at lunch.
Like,
That's where you get your.
You'll be here first, second, and then leave through lunch? Yes. That counts.
Oh, never mind. I can't leave for period anyway.
Yeah, that's nice.
I hella got something from Miss. Actually, I'm
Miss Love?
Yeah.
Psychology test? Whoop whoop!
No, not whoop whoop. I'm gonna skip it and be like, all right, I'll come back another day. But I got a partner, so I don't know how this gonna work.
You just won't have a partner when you do it after school.
So they better study.
That's cold.
I got stuff to do on Friday.
Josh,
That's-
put your phone away and do this last example,
The
please.
day before prom, I'm occupied all day.
Occupado.
Yeah.
Occupado. Just forewarning you now, make sure you are here half a day. You don't want to spend all that money on prom tickets and then be turned away at the door because you weren't here. And I will tell you now, they will pull attendance. And they will have it sitting there and they will mark off who does not get in because of attendance.
I said what I knew.
Yeah. So
Getting cold.
My bad.
I know, and I was just like, damn,
What'd you say to me? What'd you say to me? Kelly.
That's all I got.
I saw some deal like.
Yeah, I ain't gonna multitask. I can't multitask. Huh? I know. I know that's it. Right now, I stick with my crow.
Did you, after Jay, did you go to, G?
Go back and check A again. Everything else looks good. Check A again.
Dang, I think I messed up.
What you going to school? Yeah. Just now. All right.
This man.
So 45 A and B, 48 A and B. Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me which one on this stuff on? Which one on this stuff?
Did you figure out A? Check Isabel's for me since I know yours is good. 45 A and B. 48. Yeah, well. The only thing that sucks is,
I messed up on this step.
A is wrong.
Reschedule it.
Yeah.
A is wrong.
That's the only part that sucks is these are all conference games. Those are going to be homework. So we have to reschedule them. And because we already play Wednesday and Friday, I really don't want to do a Thursday game and play 3 games back to back. Next week, I mean, we always have Thursday next week that we could schedule. But again, that sucks because it's the day before y'all are out for break.
And that's 2 games because of Friday and Monday.
Monday and Wednesday. Next week we play Monday,
No,
Wednesday.
like I'm saying, 2 games I gotta do.
Oh, well, they already rescheduled. We're playing May 2nd, the Thursday after our senior night.
And is that
That-
South Rowan or?
That's South Rowan. Oak Grove is supposed to be tonight, so the only way we can really reschedule Oak Grove is if we do it Thursday next week, unless we play 3 straight games in a row, or we play over break, which I think Sierra's going to the beach.
She's living.
So it'll be me and Jackson. But I have family coming into town, so I don't know how that's going to
You
work.
gotta think most girls are probably gonna leave.
Right, and that's the thing. We're gonna lose a lot of you. That's why we try not to schedule games during break. How we doing?
So, you see, if you went from A to B to the A, that gave you 14.
Yeah.
So it's all the way around to G to I to that gave you 19.
Look, Miss Smith, I walked 600.
So you would take that half.
644 steps.
And then B should be.
That's it?
All in the morning that I woke up at 10.
I've walked 2,500 plus today.
What time did you wake up?
6.
I woke up at 10 and this is already literally 40 minutes ago.
Okay.
What's good?
So it seems like our biggest problem right now is A. At least that's what I'm hearing from this end of it. I guess I should come around and check everybody's. So no. Ashley, give me yours.
Everyone else knows.
We're gonna use yours because I don't have an answer key. And I know yours is right.
I'm watching Blue Exorcist because it just popped up.
Is it because of
Now
Is it because of
I feel like reading a manga and I don't want to read them.
catching everybody. They caught you.
I was thinking
They
because
caught
of
you. You're working on drawing pretty stars on your paper. I know. It's usually what I get on my test. Pretty stars.
Is that alright? Besides A?
Yeah, they look good besides A. You got it. Yes.
Is it because of E?
Yes.
Miss Smith, I got this first one. I definitely got it wrong again. Yeah, because I got A for 14.
A caught you.
It's on this first.
Where's your critical time?
Blah.
You do your critical time to make life easier. If you do these, it'll make everything else easier.
I got A. I got A14. I got
Okay.
Cat Rice, good morning.
I think that's because of E, really. I thought, so since D is bigger than E.
Who on earth? How'd you get so big?
I don't know. I feel like you take my answer. See, you can't. So you might.
No.
I just made me like, oh.
My grade.
All right, so again, the biggest problem I'm seeing is A. Everybody seems to have gotten everything else. Okay, so when I back up and look at H to the end is a critical time of 2. Okay? When I back up to D becomes 7. Okay, there's multiple ways to get back to A, so I'm going to stop there right now. Okay? I'm going to go back to the end. So I has a critical time of 5. J has a critical time of 3. Okay, there are 3 different ways that I can back up to point G. So I can either go 2 backwards, 5 backwards, or 3 backwards. I want the biggest number, so that's going to make G 9. Okay, there's one way to back up to E. Or I'm sorry, 2 ways to back up to E. I can go from 7 or from 9. Okay, again, we want to take our biggest time, so that's going to give me 12. There's only one way to go backwards to F. So that gives me 7. Okay, this is where it caught you. Be careful. There are 2 ways to back up to A. I can back up from D to A or E to A. If you back up from D, that only gives me 14. But if I back up from E, I have 19. So you want to back up from E to go backwards to A.
Yeah.
Again, you want to take your bigger number backwards. Okay? You took the bigger number backwards to B. I don't know if it was because it's like a straight across shot that y'all are going for that one. Okay? E goes backwards to B and gives me 17. And the only way to get backwards to C is to go from F, so that gives me 13. So those are your critical times.
I didn't do that.
But most of you had everything but A. And again, I'm not quite sure if it's just because it was the straight shot from D over, or you just missed the line from E up to A altogether. Okay, so just be careful with that. Look at all of your options.
I thought it was because the parentheses were big. That's why I think.
Because the 5's bigger than the 3. No, you always want to go off the total time that you're getting. Okay, so be careful with that too. You don't want to do D because D takes 5 hours and E only takes 3. You're looking at B's when you're trying to back up. Your total time, okay, when you're backing up. So if I had to list the critical path, that goes from start
To wait, from start to A to E, G.
okay? So A is my biggest one, so I want to go to A. I need a total of 19. So A is 7. I want to go to E.
No.
That's
No. Oh, yeah.
yes. E is 3. D is 7. H is 2. To the end. And this should equal 19 for that to be the critical path. Again, I want my critical path to be my highest number. So I need to find a way to follow this to end up with 19 at the end. And we get that from adding all the times of each one of the things that we pass through. Critical path starting at B. What's the biggest way I can start at B and get to the end? B to E. You said to G? Okay, hold on. G to I to the end. Okay, so if I add these numbers up, B is 5, plus 3 is 8, plus 4 is 12, plus 5 is 17. As long as I end up with this number, you're good to go. Okay, starting at G. What's the biggest way I can go from G to the end? G to I, and I to the end. Again, G's critical time was 9. So when I add up these numbers, I should get 9. Well, this is 4, this is 5, 4 and 5, give me 9. Questions? Okay, you have 2 problems to do tonight for homework. Oh, I didn't upload the book pages. I'm going to upload the book pages. Okay, you're going to do 45, just parts A and B, and 48, Just parts A and B.
Same thing we did just now.
Yes, it's the same thing you did just now.